Hello and welcome to taik18. I'm Mohammad Adnan, and in this video we are going to discuss about Power Apps, its basic and the fundamentals how you need to cover those features. Not only just Power Apps, we are also going to go a level more, which is we are going to cover Power Apps, the main components which we can use, and also about Canvas app and also about model driven app. And also we are going to focus on Dataverse and integrate with Power Automate. So all these things we are going to cover in this video. Maybe it will take a little bit long time. It can be have multiple parts. It depends based on the time consumption which it happens. If you're new to this channel or if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel and like this video before you forget about that. Now let's look into it. I'm sharing my screen now. So this is Power App. I hope you got the basic about the Power Apps and other things. If you are not aware of Power Apps, so basically Power Apps is a kind of building and business applications where you can use inside our business and within a short period of time with the help of low code user interface kind of thing. And we can use our multiple data sources for that, or also we can use Dataverse in that case. And we can integrate with Power Automate and also with Power Apps as well. So it's a kind of Power Platform features. I have made a separate video series about this as well. If you haven't seen that, I recommend you please go and watch that video series so that you can get an aware of what are those things are. This is just an high level out there. So the prerequisite for these things, first of all, if your company is already using Power Apps, then if you have a license of Power App, then it doesn't matter. You can directly come to login of your app make.powerapps.com. Then you will see this kind of screen. But if your company is have not purchased the license, if you want to try it out, or if you are a college fresh out, or if you want to try something by yourself, then you can buy a developer license. It will be free for you, and you can use like enterprise for that. You can make your app, practice yourself, but you can't able to deploy it onto your real production. So that's the difference between that. I also have a separate videos about how you can get a license of Power Apps. I will add it in my description or on the top so that you can also get aware of that. So that's the cool thing, right? We can get a license of that and then we can just play around with that. Similarly, how we have license free, we can use it for personal use on Power BI. Similarly, we have it also on Power Apps and Power Automate. So this is my home screen. I am logged in here as Mohammad Adnan and it is developer license. And also you can see on the top, I have a message. This is a developer environment and not meant for production use. So I just need to use it only for my production. That's why I'm using it for my training purpose here. That's cool. So first of all, you need to make sure that you're on the right environment. Environment is something similar to the workspaces which we have it in Power BI. If you're not aware of Power BI, no issues. It's something similar to the folders which you are going to create on our computer or laptop. So this is an environment. If you click here, then you have options to see what are the environment which you have access. But if you want to create a new environment, then for that you need to have an admin license, and then you need to go to your settings and then admin center. So this is going to open up a new page, which is admin.powerplatform.com. And from here, you can configure your Power Platform activities. There is lots more to do that. If you want to know more about Power Apps in detail about how these things work, the setting, tenant setting, and the center of excellence, how you need to initially set up those things, please let me know in the comment section below. I will try to add more videos in future. So here on the left side, you have multiple options where you can select environments, and then you can click on new environment if you want to create a new one. And then you can just choose the name of your environment, and then you can also select the region and also this type of the environment. If you want to add a Dataverse as a backend, you can also use that. And if you want to build it through Azure, you can just click on pay as you go option for this and click on save. This is going to create a new environment for you. So once it is done, then you need to log into your Power Apps again. Then you will see this screen here. The next important thing which you need to do here is basically solutions. On the left menu, you see the solution. Solution is a kind of, you can say, package for that. So whatever you're going to create inside the Power Platform here, the Power Apps and Power Automate, you need to create inside a solution. So solution comes everything inside the Power Apps and Power Automate, everything will come inside to the solutions. So you need to create a new solution here. I will give it a name here as Power Apps YouTube Demo 1 2024_1. All right. So if you want to select a publisher, you can just select from the drop down. So here I just want to select the publisher as Contrasto. And more options, we have a version here. If you want to add something else, a configure page, you can add. This is not a kind of important thing. You can select all these things here. If you want to know the fundamental things about these Power Apps, the settings which you have seen on the previous screen about the type of environment and also about the settings here, I'm thinking to make a course on that as well, so that we can get to know about the fundamentals of Power Apps. So on the left side, now this is created here, the solution. On the left side, you see it is showing up here all Power Apps. You can add multiple apps inside to that. You can also add cards component and chatbot, which is Power Virtual Agent. And you can also add that, and also about the cloud flows, you can also add Power Automate, and you can also add the tables from Dataverse. So these things comes up here, and here we need to create an app. So clicking on the apps, and on the left menu we have a new option. Instead of that, we have multiple options here. We can create all these things here. So app, and then click on Canvas app. So first of all, we are going to build the Canvas app, and then we'll go with the Dataverse, and then model driven app, and then with Power Automate. So we need to give it a name here. The name of the app, I can give it here as machine ordering app. I'll just give everything here 2024-1. All right, this has to be tablet format because I want to show it on a tablet, and then click on create. All right, so this is the thing. So first of all, we need to follow the standard practices, like we need to rename the controls and the screen of this one. So we need to rename that. I'll just give it a name here as a main screen for this. And you can now start adding your data. So in terms of data, I have an Excel file where you can see this is basically the machine order information, and I mean the machine information, and these are the machine types. So these are the machine types which we have, and on the other sheet which we have it here is basically the machine details about this. So now the next thing is we need to add the data here. So I have my Excel file where I just shown you about this thing, right? So which it contains the information about the machine types and machine information. So I need to click on the left menu. If I can click here, it will expand the menu, and I need to select the data from here. So if I select data, so it will show me the list of available data sources. Right now, we don't have anything. We need to click on add here. So here we can use the existing tables from Dataverse, or you can also use AI models, or we can use multiple connectors. So you just need to type Excel here because we need to import the Excel table. So here we have an option about import from Excel. Just click on that. Then on the right side, it is asking you about the file. I will just select the file here. And here it has automatically fetch about the sheets, which is machine and machine types, which we have. Select these two and then click on connect. Then it will load this information as a data source onto our app here. That's cool. So now let's add a new controls. So here on the left menu, you can see this is a tree view, and you can have an insert option. If you click here, this is going to give you the available controls which we have. So this is basically each and everything which is showing up here is all controls. Text label is also control, edit form is also control, each and everything is control. If you are from a kind of application development side, like from VB kind of thing, or also on the C#.NET, then you will get aware about these other things are available. And also if you are using Excel VBA, then also you might be aware of these things which is already there. It's a similar thing which is brought up here. So we'll add a new text label here, and it is going to add up a page here. Then we can just give it a name, which is, I'll just give it a name here as machines. And it is, yeah, this is actually the label, right? So we need to give a naming convention. For label, we'll use LBL, which is starting will be the small, the control name, and heading. So LBL heading, So we're going to add that name here, and the text here you can add here as machines. So we can just realign, drag and drop onto as per your wish, and then you can also use however you want. And on the right side, you have the properties of each and every control. It will change dynamically based on the control selection. So here I use this one. This has to be center. And if you want to add a background color for this, you can also make use of that. I'll just give it this as a blue color. Let it be a little bit dark here, and the font to be white color. The contrast color is the heading, so we'll just give it a bigger and font to be bold. Yeah. All right. So now we have a data here. So first of all, we need to add another controls. So you can also access from your left menu, or you can also access it from your top menu. From the top, you have an insert. Just click on that, and we have a vertical gallery. If you want to know about more gallery, just type the control name, like for example, gallery. You'll see these are the galleries which is available. So we'll take this as the first of vertical gallery. It will be load one by one. If I click here, then it will be added onto our screen. Just we realign this one, and I will make this here on the right side of the page. Cool. So the next thing here is on the right side, you can see the data source options. Once I click on that, it is asking me which one I need to select. Here, this has to be machine types. So just click on that. Then this will be load here. And on the selected value, which is showing up here, this is by default, which comes up when you add the controls inside to that. So it is asking us about what are the things which you need to select, which is basically, you can see it here on the image, and there are two boxes here. So once the data source is added here, on the layout side in the right menu, you can see an option here about how you want to align these things. So we have multiple options. We can just select here gallery and then two columns. Just click on that. It will change accordingly as per our needs, and how you want to make here, as you want to keep it as the two columns or one. So basically in the wrap count also, we can just select this to be one. Then it will be going to show you one column at a time here. You can also reduce the size of the image so that it can accommodate other images as well within a single page. And now you see it is added multiple gallery here. I mean multiple images here. You can see it on this image. So let me reduce a little bit more here so that I can see most of my images. All right, this is cool. So we have added here, and then this is basically the gallery machine types on this one. You can see on the items, this is basically the properties of each and every controls. This is also the properties basically, and this is the kind of the properties we can also make customized in our needs. You can also do it from here, and we can also do it from the top menu. So here the machine type is, this is data source which you are going to add with. So here it is the machine types, which is basically the items on this particular gallery. And if you click on the image, then this is showing a sample image, which is this one. Actually, this has to be the name of the image which is coming from our table, from the database, data source. This has to be, this is a kind of, this item is basically referring to this particular data source dot, and we have an option about photo. So once you add that, then this is, so once you add that, this is going to call that particular column from this data source, the photo column, and it displayed here because this is an image here. So that's why we are seeing this information. So there are 4 images added onto this one. That's pretty cool. And if you want to realign further, you can just realign it further, because I would like to add. Yeah, I think this is good enough. All right, this is cool. So we have added vertical gallery, and if you want to add the further machine detail gallery, then you need to click on insert and search for gallery again. And also you need to select here horizontal gallery. Here you need to select your data source as a machine, and you can just realign this further by selecting on this one, realign. Okay, here we have option which is machines, and how we want to realign this thing. You can also select from the layout option. So selecting on this one, this is title and description. Okay, that's fine. And the wrap count, you want to wrap it by 1 or you want to wrap it by 4. But enter 4 here, then you see it is showing up me 4 here. If I add 2 here, then this is going to add me 2 columns here. All right. And what else here we can do? And these are the other properties. If you want to set up here, then we can also set up those properties as well. Okay, so now the other changes which we want to do is like if you want to show the scroll bar, you can also show the scroll bar like how we are seeing on this vertical, and we're also seeing it here as a horizontal. But if you want to turn this off and do a different thing, which is the navigation, then we see these arrow buttons here. You can also navigate through that. And here we see this is kind of big image which you are seeing up here. If you want to reduce that, then you can also reduce that image here. Okay, this is looks pretty good. And also we can reduce this overall so that you can see at least 4 images here. This looks pretty good. And here you need to do the same thing. Select the image, and on the image property of that image, we need to type here as this item dot photo. We also have a photo here, but now this is loading it from the machine Excel, machine sheet. And here we have a 2 more controls where we can add here. By default, it has taken up the value from this item dot do not modify coffee machine, but actually we need the machine name here. So we can use the machine name. And another thing, we can use it here as price of that machine. Cool, which is showing up here. And if you want to add a kind of symbols to that, before to that or after to this one, like for example, I want to add a dollar symbol before to this one, then I can just use double quotes and then add the dollar symbol and then also give a space and dollar symbol. I mean, double quotes and then give and symbol. Now, let me reduce the space here. Now you see this is a dollar within double quotes and symbol and this item dot price. And also if you see the output, it is showing up here like this nicely. That's pretty cool. So if you want to align this to be center, select these 2 images and then align it center in the right menu. And everything looks good now. So cool. So now let's run this app. First of all, we need to save this app and then we need to run this app now. So this is showing up here and you can scroll between each and everything here and everything is now changing. You can see the photo is changing, the name and also the price of each and every product. Good. Now the thing here is you can just click on the name here, and if you want to bold this one, you can also select the options from the font properties. So we have a machine type now, and we also have a machines, but the thing here, it is not being filtered based on this selection. What if you need that? So for example, if I select this machine, I mean, if I select this option, then it has to filter that as well. But we are not sure about what is this one, right? So I think it will be good if we have a name of this particular type here. So we can just click on this particular gallery and then insert on the top menu and then add a text label. So here you can just realign and it has taken automatically the sum of the name column, and actually we need here to be the name. And just change this to be a different color. On the font size, let it be yellow, a different yellow kind of thing, and I want to make it bold and it has to be 10. That's cool. So this is the name of the machine. If you're not able to read that, then we can just realign this and we can also just make this to be black. Let's realign this to be center. All right. So this is at home coffee makers and at home espresso, and this is commercial coffee and this is commercial espresso machines. Okay, so if I select this one, then it has to filter all the machines available based on the home coffee makers or based on the commercial coffee makers kind of thing. So how this can be done? So basically we need to select this machine gallery, and on the item properties, you see this is basically showing up here items dot machines now. So this is showing entirely everything from that machine. So what we need to do here, technically we need to filter. So we need to use the filter functions available here. So what filter we need to select here is basically we need to add a formula. So let's click on this one on the formula bar, which is items and then machines. So I'd like to go to the beginning of this one and type filter. And if I open a bracket, then the IntelliSense which is coming up here, which is asking me to add the data sources first. And then if I click on comma, then we need to pass the filter function. So here the machine type ID is basically the one which is linked between the machine type and machines table. So machine type ID from this table, which is the machine table, you can see which is showing up here, filter, source, and logical test. So this is equal to selected. I mean, this is a machine type gallery, right? So we need to type here as a kind of machine type gallery. I think we have not renamed those things. Yeah, that's the mistake. So let's go back and rename all the controls what we have. So that actually easy way for us while working on this kind of stuff, right? So this is one of the reasons we need to follow the naming convention. You see it is showing gallery 3, gallery 2. We are not sure which one we need to select. Yeah, it's good that we found out this problem. So selecting on the first thing, which is actually the gallery 2 here, which is machine. So GAL machines. I will name this here. And here we have a two things, which is I would like to give it here LBL price. And this has to be LBL machine name. And here this has to be IMG machine image. And for this is fine. And this is gallery 2. So we can give it a name here as gallery machine type. And this label to be LBL machine type name. And this has to be IMG machine type image. Cool. All right. The next thing here is we need to filter this machine gallery based on the selection from the machine type gallery. So for this, first of all, we need to find what is the selection here. So to do that, let's add a new text box label. It's just for our internal calculations. So we can just drag and drop anywhere here. And on the text property of this text box, we need to type here as gallery machine type dot selected dot type ID, which is the column name on the machine type column, machine type database. So if I click on run now, and then if I click on the first one, this is showing as 3, and the second one, this is showing as 1, and the third one, this is showing as 4, and the last one, which is showing up 2. Even though this is not in sorting order, that doesn't matter for us for now, but here it is changing the value. So we need to filter this gallery based on that selection. But before that, we are not sure which gallery is selected by the user. We need to show something like color combination kind of thing, whether this is selected or not. So we need to use the if condition, if, and this item, particularly the one which we have selected. So this item dot is selected. We are giving it here as the logical test. And if this is true, then we want this to be something dark color. So we can use here color dot dark something else. We can also use the dark cyan kind of thing. And if it is false, then we don't need to mention that. And now you see what it has changed. At the bottom, you see on my screen, it is different color. If I select the first one, it is changing this color. And because of this, the other things are not showing good. So for this, we can just select again, and we can give a different color at the false condition. Then I would like to be show as white color. So for this, we need to use color dot white. So whatever we have not selected, this will be showing as white color. You see, this is showing as white, and this only is showing as on the cyan color. So select this one. This is showing up correct. Perfect. So based on our selection, this is changing the colors. But this doesn't look nice, but I just used here for my calculation to show you how it works. But the good thing here, we can use the theme, which is LBL header, what we have it here, header. And for this, we can also go the fill property for this one. And here we can see the fill property, which is a different color, which is showing up this one. So selecting the label again, and instead of color dot cyan, so here we need to use as color fade. And if I open up here, this is asking us color and then the fade percentage. So from where I need to pick the color, this is basically LBL heading dot fill, and percentage to be 75%. I'd like to fill it one. So Now, if I run this one, this is showing up in light sky blue, and then I'm selecting the other things, which is also showing up here. Perfect. So this is helpful because if you are changing something different color for your company, like here, for example, if I'd like to change this to be red, then the selection also will change. So this will apply a kind of proper theme for you. So that's how beautiful it is. So let me change to a different color now. So it's a blue, and now it's also changed to blue. So the theme will apply on this one. All right, now moving on to the next one, which is items machine gallery. So here we need to use the filter option. So filter is basically we need to use the filter function and open bracket. And here actually we need to pass the conditions. So first of all, we need to pass what? And if I show you the IntelliSense, actually this is going behind the scene. Anyway, so the machine type ID from this one is equal to is selected. I mean the gallery type dot selected dot machine type, which is type ID. If both of them are similar, then I want this to filter to particular this one, which is the type ID. If it is not, then you can just show everything. So that's how it is. So here we need to use machine type ID as a kind of filter for this one and close the bracket. Now you see it is actually filtering based on my selection. So let's run this application now. And this is showing up 3, and you can see all these things here. If I click on home machine, then this is changing the machine, and also this is one value. And this one, this is also changing the value. And for this one, this is also changing the value. That's so cool. So we have added here the machine type gallery and also the machine, and we also filtered it based on the user selection. That's how beautiful it is. So let's save this one and we'll move on to the next topic. So now we can do a little bit of conditional formatting thing here. As we added a price for this, which is showing up here 21,900, this is not a kind of easily readable. So we can just select on this label, and from this menu, instead of doing this way, we can use other functions in Power Apps, which is PowerApps we used to call it here. So we can use here that we can convert this into a text one, and then this item dot price comma, and then we can use our format string here. You can see it also from the IntelliSense. You need to use the format string here. So here we can just give it here $, and then we can use the hash comma hash dot 00, and then double quotes and close this one. Now you see on this one, which is showing up here 21,900, 23,900 with the $, in the beginning and .00 at the end. That's how beautiful it is. All right, so the next thing here is we have a value. If you also notice on this one, this is showing up under 500, and this is coming up under also 300, 400 kind of thing. And the commercial is actually has a higher value. So in order to highlight those values, which is more than 10,000, for example, then we need to give a conditional formatting color option here. So we can do that. Just select again the same thing, which is this property of this particular LBL price. And here you need to go to the font color. On this property, you can see it here, which is basically the color. And now it's showing up here RGB. But for this, you need to apply your formula, which is again if condition. If this one, this item, particular thing, this item dot price, basically that's the name of the column, price is greater than 10,000, then you need to highlight into a different color. So I like to here color dot red. If it is not, then you can just give it here as color dot black. So close the bracket. Now you see it is showing up here on the red color. If I change to a different thing, which is here, less than 10,000. So this is showing up everything in black. That's beautiful. So let's moving on to the next topic. Save this one. All right. So when you load this app with the end user kind of thing, so it is not going to show you anything on this area. The reason for that is basically we have used this machine under the data source here, which is items filter based on the selection of this one. right? So when this load, there will be no selections done by end user. They have to click on this one and then only it will work. So to avoid this one, that is also fine in one way, but if you want to avoid that, what you can what you can set up here as on this machine type gallery, on here the properties, you have option default. So select this default, and for this you need to set up here an additional function which is first and then machine types. That's it. Not a big deal, but this is a simple thing which you can avoid confusion from the end user. So whenever the app gets loaded, then this is going to take the first value as a default selection, and then this will load the data under the machine things here. All right. The next thing here is we need to compare these two, or based on the user selection, compare the machines, and then they can send a request to the approval to purchase these machines. So to compare this one, we need to add a selection option, which is a checkbox, and then we need to display it into a different page with the help of collections. So we'll add a checkbox here, insert, and then type here as a checkbox. This is adding outside of this gallery, so delete this one. So for adding inside to the gallery, you need to select the gallery, and then you will see this option which is coming up here, the pencil icon. You need to click on that edit gallery. So this is going to select the first part of that gallery, and then you need to click here insert and checkbox. Whatever control you want to add, you can add that. By doing that, this is going to add inside to that gallery. So this is a checkbox here. You'd like to add here, or you want to remove the text here, you can also remove that. If you want to just add the text, you can also do that. Or if you want to keep a label on this one, that's also fine. You can just click on this property. This is going to open up on the top. You can just give it a name here, this item dot name of that machine. Then this is going to add that as the name of this machine. So we can delete this property, and we can just, sorry, it has added two of them. Yeah, click here and then just remove the X to be 0. That's fine. It's just a realignment issue. So this is going to show up here an error. So if you click here and then edit in the formula bar, then this will show you the detail why it is error here, because we have removed this label. So that's why it's actually showing up an error for us. And still we have some error because of the alignment issue. All right. So now everything is good, but we don't see the control. So we can also go from here, and it is added inside to this one. So we need to do it manually about the width and height of this one. You can see it here. So width to be 100, for example, and we can just bring it here. So now we have this checkbox as a name, and then we also have a price here. Everything looks good. So now once you click on the checkbox, you need to add into your collections. So for this, you need to select this first checkbox, and on the property on the top left menu, you see there is an on check and on select and uncheck. You need to click on check options, and here you need to call the collect here. So I made a separate video on the collections. What are the uses of collections in PowerApps? That's really an amazing feature in PowerApps. You please go and check out that video to understand in detail about what are the features you can use from that. So clear, I mean, we are using this collect here, and here we need to give the name of the collections, which I would like to give here, compare machines. So first of all, I'd like to give it here a COL. That's how I used to call here, and COL machines, and then click comma, and then you need to use this item. As simple as that. You don't need to mention any type of column. If you want to mention, then that's a long process. You can just watch that video. But here, if you add this item, then it's going to add everything, whatever we have it for that particular product, particular machine. And before going further, just rename this one CHK compare checkbox. Okay, compare box. All right, so we have this here, and if I run this one after saving, so first of all, let's click on the homemakers. I would like to add this one. So this is not showing up the value because we have not set up those things here. Okay, that's a good sign. So let's go on to the data here for now. And you see there is a new data source added here, which is called compare machine. So this is basically the one which we have added on this particular thing. And if the data is already added inside to this or not, then we need to add into this into another table, then we can able to see those information. Great. And we have also another option where we can select on the variables. And here also we have a compare, clicking on this one and then view table. We can see these collections here. Right now it is nothing added here. So let's click on the first one and let's just expand a little bit. The name of this one. All right. So here it is. We are set up here as collect, college compare, and then this item. That's a good thing. And the next thing which we need to set up here is basically what? The check property of this one. You see the default property is set to off and the display mode is set to edit here. That's totally fine. So let's realign this one to be middle. Yeah, that's fine. And the text also aligned here perfectly. Okay, so the next thing what we have a challenge here is the checkbox option, right? So here we need to go to the default option, which is set to false. And by default, it is not going to tick here. So what we are going to do here is we need to check this box if it is available on the collections. So for this, we need to use this item, which is particularly this one, in the collection what we have called here, which is collection compared to this one, right? And if I run this one and clicking on checkbox, on check, I think what we have added, where I added this one in the default, and if I go to this on check property, this is showing up this one. That's cool. Okay, so we have seen about this checkbox on check property, but on select it is showing as select parent, which is not true. So let's delete this one, save this one, and run this app. And if I click on checkbox now, it is still the same. Okay, so the issue is basically on the machine gallery. If you scroll down, do you have an option about display mode? This is actually previously was set to view. That's why we are not able to interact with that gallery. We need to change this to edit. Then only we can able to interact with that. Now everything is same here. So we have a checkbox, which is checkbox checks compare box. And on check property of this one, we have added collect dot, which is the collection name, collection machine compare. And then this item is going to add everything inside to that. Now, if I save this one and run this app, and for example, if I select here the name here, Crema Cafe Excel, and we have a checkbox here, and you have to also add this here Bristol light, then we also have this information. So just close this one for now. And if I go to variable section, here I can see this collection now showing up here, and click here and then view data. I'm now seeing two information, which we have take two information over there. So you see, we have this information still that ticked out. The reason is because on this property of this one, the default property of this checkbox, we need to set here as an if condition. If it is available on this collection, then it has to be ticked. If it is not, then it has to be unchecked here. For example, if you just set this to be true by default, then everything will tick here. And if you set everything to be false, then everything will remove now. Now you see, after changing this thing, we have also got removed of these two selections. So if you want to get it from your existing collection, then you need to use the if condition. If it is available on this one, then we need to use this one. So we need to type this here, this item in the collection name, collection machine compare. If it is there, then it has to be ticked as checkbox true. If it is not, then it will not show up here. Now see, it is showing up here two as a checkbox here because two of them are pre-selected in our collection. So this is fine. The next thing here is we need to add a new page and show the selected information. So that we need to go back now and add a new screen. Click on the main screen, and we don't have option here. This is just the main screen. On the top, you have a new screen option. We have multiple things, but we just need to use the blank screen. So select here and we'll give it a name here as compare screen. And we need the information about the thing which we have used here on the machines. If it is just the name of the machine, then that's fine. If you have a multiple thing, like if you have a logo and other thing, then we need to group them and then use it in each and every page. So for example, if I want to add an image here, so I can just use the image on this one and I can just realign where I need. I'd like to just keep it here on top of this one. And as an image source, I can use it from my media itself. So on the left menu, we have a media options. So click on here, upload. I'd like to upload my taik18 image, which is here, and I want to call it here on my image property, which is taik18. It's showing up the name of the image, and now I can see the icon also here. That's cool. So if you want to make combination of these two things, like here, this has to be img heading image, and you just need to select here this one. That's fine. You just need to click here and select both of them and right click on this one, group options. So you can have group here. So grp header. So this is a group header and we can see both of them showing up here, image and this one. So let this to be center of field. Okay. So let's copy this group header and then go to the compare page and paste here. Then you can see both of them is added here. I can also see my photo here and also this one. So instead of fill, let this to be stretch here. So I can see the information here. That's fine for now. So on that label, we can just keep this as a machine information. And this is a group header. And if you want to change the rename of this one, you can also do that. Usually, as a kind of further more best practices, at the end of each and every control, we need to add the screen name. So for example, here we need to add MS and here we need to add as a CS here. So group header underscore CS. So this is coming from the group header and is on the compare screen. That's how the abbreviation will be. So I'll just rename it for the second page, not for the first one. If nothing is there, then we'll consider as a first page. If it is a page name, then we'll think as the page name. That's cool. So let's go back again to the main screen because we have some work to do here. So we have these two things and now we need to give an option here to show the list of count, selected count, and also a button to navigate into the next screen for the end user. So we need to add a new and then click on the button option. So here we will just drag to the bottom of the page and we can just realign this a bit here and we can add a text here, which is btn. The name here is collection count. We can just give it a name here. And on the text here, what we can do, and here we can selected count and we just need to use two double quotes here. And this has to be, we need to use a function which is count rows and we can use the collection name, close the bracket. And also we need to use the and symbol and double quotes here. That's it. So if you use this one, selected count, open bracket, and this count rows of the collection and close the bracket. So we'll see this result has selected count 2. Now we need to give some copy and paste this here. And also, no, we need to do one more thing here. Just select here and then on the display property, which is display mode, is set to edit by default. So this is be enabled by default, but actually we don't want to enable this. We just want to enable only if something is selected from that collection. So click on the display mode again, and then here it has to be if and open bracket count rows of this one collection property is greater than 0, then it has to be edit. If it is not, then it has to be disabled. That's it. So it has to be display mode dot disable. Okay. So we have this and this, and one more thing we need to add here on the collection, on the checkbox. So we have added here on check property. So what if the user want to uncheck something? So I have selected here the checkbox on the property here. Let's go to on check. So what we have used here is collect and then this item on this collection. Similar thing we need to do it for the uncheck as well, but instead of collect, we need to use here remove. That's it. Remove open bracket collection name and then comma this item. So this will remove it from this one. So now let's test this app and see how it works. Save this one and test this one. I would like to uncheck this one. You see the count is changing to 1, and if I change this as well, the count is now 0, and also the button got disabled here. That's cool. So let's select different thing, and we have this option. That's pretty cool. So let's copy and paste it into another area of this one. I like to change the color of these two because we are not following the theme here. So let's change this to with a theme. All right, so I don't like the rounded corner, so I'm just changing this border to be 0 and the border radius to be 0 as well. Okay, so this is the button. We need to give it name, which is button navigate. Now to compare screen. All right, the text here is we need to give here go to compare screen. So within double quotes, it has to be. So go to compare screen. So as we have just copied it from this button. So whatever the fields, the setting which is done, it is already copied here. For example, the display mode, it is also copied here. And also there is one more thing which we did here. And think that, yeah, I think this is the one. Okay, so we have added here. So if I save this one and run, and then if I click on go to compare, it will not do anything because we have not added anything here. So let's cancel this and select this box. And here on this one, what we need to do here as a default on select. So we have option here on select, and here we need to use navigate, a function which is in PowerApps. Navigate here to compare screen. That's it. And if we click on compare, then we have a transition mode. So how you want to transition from this page to another page. Let's like to use this cover right kind of thing. Save, run, and if I click here, you see it has some feeling. So that's why it is added here. So now let's close this one. If you want to go back to the main screen, then we need to do the same thing. We need to add a button here so that we can navigate to the home screen. For this, instead of going to copy paste the button, we'll just use an icon here. So we need to go insert and then click on back. We also have icons on this option. So click on the back arrow. So it is added here onto our page, and we can just keep it here and just we'll realign this. And also I'd like to give it a different color. It has to be actually white because of the contrast issue. And then on this one, on select property, same use navigate to the home screen. That is main screen. That's it. And now save run. If I click here, it will navigate to this screen, and go to compare. This will come to this screen. That's cool. The next thing here we need to do is add a compare screen. So for gallery, we can do one thing here. Let's go to the main screen and just copy this. Now let's go to the compare screen and paste it here. Just realign this to be the full page. Yeah. So here on the item property of this gallery, instead of doing all this stuff, just use the collection machine compare. That's it. Now this is going to show us this information. That's pretty cool. So here on the rack count, I'd like to keep it this as a 1. So I want to keep everything into one single line. So let's show it here. And here, instead of adding this label, we'll just keep on adding multiple text boxes so that we can have a name of the, this has to be the this item dot name, which is machine name, and also other details of the machine, which is price we have, and what else is missing here. I think we have multiple options, which is description, which is also multi-line here, and alignment to be left for this one. This can be added at the end of this one. Let's copy paste here. I think we have more options as well, which is machine dot average cup per week. And also we can keep this as average espresso per week. All right, so we need to add a text also for that user to understand. So just copy this one, and at the beginning, double quote, add this value, double quote, and that's it with the and symbol. Now this looks good. If we expand this, yeah. And similarly, we need to do for this one as well. Average cup weeks. So double quote average cup week, and then this one double quote and hand symbol. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, for now this is good. What we can see. So the next thing here, we need to also give option to where user selected. We need to show it the background color to be different, like how we did for the previous one, which is on this machine type screen. So similarly, we need to go here for this label and just copy the thing. And if you come back here to the machine compare sheet, and you need to select this gallery, and here if you select this particular thing, if we have it here, which is template fill. So this is basically a template, not a control. So we need to select here template fill. Let's just comment this one and shift enter. You can add another value here. So now you see it is showing up this one particular thing. And if I save and run, and if I select the other thing, then it is also changing the selection based on my click here. Let's go back here, add some more values, like more than this tick value here. And you see the selected count is now 5, and go to compare screen. Now I should see this thing value here. And the beautiful thing here is I just copied it from the main machine screen. So that's why all the values are showing up in red if it is more than 10,000 value. That's beautiful, the use of copy and paste here. So far so good. And the next thing here, we need to make use of the Dataverse. So if you want to publish this with the other users and also share it with them, you just need to click on the publish on the top right and give it a name here as a version 1 and publish this version. That's it. So if the user goes and log in again, let's go back here, save this one. You need to click on the Power Apps here. Let's go back onto the apps section. And we see this app here, machine ordering app 2024-01, and click on play icon. This will open up in a new window. While this is opening, yeah, so this app is a developer environment, so this is not for production purpose. I know that. You see, first of all, it has taken the default value selection here, and if I make the changes here, this is also fine. And if I select any of the product and go to compare screen, it is showing up here. Also, we can see the color highlighting also on this one, and also this is showing up the commercial, which is more than 10,000 value. That's awesome. So this is how it will work. And if you want to share this with other people, then you just need to click here and then share, and then share it with other people. You need to assign the AD group for that particular user, and then they can able to use that. But they have to be in the production and they have to buy a separate license for that. Now we'll discuss about the next part, which is Dataverse. How we can connect our Power Apps into Dataverse. And first of all, what is Dataverse? So Dataverse is, we can say, as a kind of database with high level information. Like there are multiple predefined tables are available, which is developed by Microsoft, and we can connect this with Dynamic 365. And not only we can use the existing tables like accounts table, company, supplier, vendor. So these are all the predefined tables which is already available. We can make use of those tables as well. Not only that, we can also create our custom columns, as well as we can also create custom tables, and then we can integrate into our Power Apps applications. So it is easy to manage, easy to share with other people, and we can have a single place to secure our data as well. I'm into my Power Apps login here, and you can see it on the left menu, the tables are here. So when you click on that, this will give you the list of available predefined tables in this environment. Always make sure whenever you're working and changing these kind of things, you make sure that you're on the right environment. You see, these are the table which is predefined here, like the accounts table, address table, appointment, attachment kind of thing. There are lots of tables are predefined available. If you click any one of the table, then you will see the list of available things inside to that. In a regular database like SQL Server, what we used to do, we create a database and then we'll create a data table, and inside of that we'll define columns. Similar approach also here. So we have a table, database is Dataverse, and accounts is basically the table name. And also these are the details available inside to this. You can see the account name, main phone, address city 1, and primary contact. And there are 143 more columns are available inside to this accounts table. That's really amazing, right? So in reality, we may use or we may not use all these columns, but these are the predefined tables and columns available in Dataverse. If you can use, then you can use those columns. If you don't want, then you can just skip those columns. And on this one, you can see if you click on the properties, then this will give the list of properties on this table, which is opening on the right side. It's just the table name and its plural name, and also the primary column, which is available inside to this. And if I click on expand, the account name is the primary column here. So that's what it is defined on this one. And also in the tools, we have an option to copy set names, copy schema, copy logical name, everything we can copy from here. Not only that, we also have multiple options. Like if you see it here, the schema, which is showing up here columns. And when you click on that, it's going to give the list of available columns and its data type for you. And also the relationship here. So what is the relationship between the account table and other tables which is available in this database? And also this will show you the available primary keys inside to this table. And under the data experience, we have a forms here. Forms is actually a good thing. So let me quickly show you one by one, which is the schema here as a columns. You can see these are the column names, and this is the stack name of the column and data type, and which is managed, customizable, is required, or searchable. So these many options are available here. If I go back here and then click on relationship, then this will give me the relationship between this and other tables, and what is the relationship type here. Many to many, one to many, everything is here. And also there are the keys which is available here. So there is no main primary key available here. So that's why it is not showing up here. Okay, under data experience, we have forms, views, chart, and dashboard. So if you click on forms here, this is going to give me these many options here: main, quick view, card, main here. So these are all actually the list of forms which is pre-built here. So we can share this with other people. So some may require some information and some may require some other information, right? So in that case, we need to give access as a kind of column level security. So it's the same thing which is applied here. So we can share these kind of forms with other people, those who are in need of those information. That's also pretty good here. And also there are views here. So if you want to get the data from a specialized view, so you want to show some information to the user, like for example, in employee table, we have a salary table. You want to show that information only to HR people, not to the other user. So in that case, you can create multiple views and then you can share with those people here. And the next option what we have here is charts. Yeah, definitely we can create charts here. For me, I think this is basically integrating the charts inside to your forms, but actually we can directly consume Power BI to build the reports from Dataverse. And also the dashboard is similar to that concept. And here we have a customization where we can apply business rules here. Like for example, if you're creating a purchase order and you want to get approval if it is more than 10,000 US dollar as an example, then you can set up a business rule for that. And also you can set up a command here. If I click on the business rules, let's see there is no business rules here. And similarly, if I click on commands, for example, if there are any, we can just have a look into that. So there are multiple commands here. So if you want to activate this form, you can also use that command. So we can merge. So there are multiple things here. We can activate or delete the records commands available here. And if you want to add a custom message, then also you can add those custom messages here. So this is all about how we can use, the basic information about the Dataverse. So if you want to create a new table, on the top menu, you have a new options. And here we don't see anything because we are inside to this particular table. So if we need to go back here to the table section, and then we need to create a new table, new here. And we have option to start with a blank or virtual table, or also to upload an Excel file. But for starting, we'll just create new table, and then we can create using our add columns and data. So we need to give the name of the table here. It is, we can give it here as machine orders. And we can just, this will take up the plural name automatically, and it is asking for us to set up a primary column. So here we can set up a primary column, the first column, which should be the machine name. So let's cancel this one and just rename it here, edit the column. And this has to be machine name. Single line of text, this is okay, and it is required here, and update. And now if I edit this table here, we can give it here machine order. And here you can see the primary column, it has taken automatically as machine name, and click on save. So the name is changed here to machine orders, and we also have a machine name here. So now you want to add a new additional column, then you can just click on plus sign here, or also on the top, you can click on new column. When you click on this one, this will open up a new tab. Here we need to give it the name and data type and the format of that column. So this has to be the price of the machine, and this has to be currency, and it is required. And in advanced tab, we don't see any much information. So you can just click on save here. And if you click on edit table properties, then it's also giving us the same information. Yeah, everything is fine here. So similarly, we need to add multiple columns. I will quickly add those information as well. All right, I have added machine name, price, requested by, requested date, and approver, and then approved date, comment, and estimated ship date. Let's click on create. It is not like that. If we need to define, it is not like that we need to define the column names properly at the beginning itself. We can customize the column names anytime if you need. Even though we added here only few columns and there are 20 more, it is showing up here. If I click here, then it is created on exchange rate currency. These are all some default column which it has taken automatically from the Dataverse. And we can edit this one. If you want to add a new column, just click here and then new column. Then this will open up a new window. There we can also select the column name. All right, so here it has to display name. We need to give the approval status. It has to be choice column and the behavior to be simple. It is optional and it's searchable, and sync with global service. Do you want to do that or not? So we can just keep it here as no for now, and then sync with choices. So we need to define the choice here, approved or reject kind of thing. So click on new choice and just type here approved, and the value which is coming up here is automatically it will come, and here it has to be by reject. That it is useful behind the scene calculation. All right, so there is no default option, and this display name to be, what is the name of that one choice? This has to be, we need to give a name, which is approval status choice, and click on save. And here sync choice with we need to click on no actually, right? So yeah, we need to click on no here and then define the name here. Approve and new choice, and this has to be reject. That's it. And default side, do you want to do something? Can define here by reject or approve as a default, but actually it has to be none because user need to do the approve or reject the thing here. And now click on save. So this will add a new column, and let's have a look. We need to add further more columns or not. So if you want to edit any existing column, you can also just click here, edit, and then edit here. This has bring up the same UI. And if I click on any of the column, for example, the price and edit column, then we'll see here, if you click on advanced, different options here. Initially, when we used to create the table, at that time, these options were not available. Now we have it here. So for the price, we can define some minimum and maximum value. I'd like to keep this as 0 to 50,000, and this everything is fine. So we can click on save. So this is how you can modify the existing tables and columns. So we also need to add one more column. We just need to click on new column, and here this is a different column. So the name of the column is department contribution. This has to be currency. And here we have a behavior simple, calculate, and roll up. So since the beginning we are using simple, and now we are going to use the calculated here. Roll up is basically we need to call it from a different table. So that's the use of that. And calculate is we need to adopt some formula here, apply some formula here. So when you need to click on save and edit, then it will open up a new pop-up window on your browser. You need to make sure that you are allowed to open up this additional window. Here we need to define our calculations now. Here you see it is open up this window, if then condition and then action. So we don't want to apply any condition here. You can just click on action, and here we need to set up the price column, which is basically our price name. This is the price into 0.1 percentage. So 10% we are getting the value from the price, which is the department contribution. And you need to click on commit here and then save and close. So once you do so, this is going to process the thing and apply the formula to that column. At the beginning of this video, what I mentioned to you is like we need to create everything within the solution. So if I click on solutions here, the one which we have added is PowerApp YouTube demo 2024 one. If I click on that, inside to that we have apps, which is not showing up here. Yeah, it is come up here. And if I click on tables here, the table which we created, it has to show here, right? But it is not showing up here. That's actually not the right way we did. We actually did those changes. I mean, added those tables outside of the solution. So to do that, actually, we need to add the table inside here. So either we can create a new table again from the beginning, or we can type it from an existing table, add an existing table. So click here and then click on table. This is going to load the table, and we need to look for our table name. We have added as a machine order. And here you see there are two tables which is showing up here. This is the one which we have used, and Contos is the one which I used on my previous training, and this is the one which we have used now. So you need to click here and then click next, and include all objects or include table metadata. I want to include everything, and then click on add. This is going to add the table on our solution. That's great. And now if I click on this machine order, then we'll see the details, everything showing up here. And if I click on properties, and in advanced tab, let's see what it is showing up here. Previously it is showing up the schema name is this one and logical name is also this one. Yeah, it is actually in that schema. It is not inside to our new schema. Yeah, that's totally fine. We have added that table here. And the next thing here, we need to add a business rule. So new here, and then we need to create a business rule. So this has opened up into a new window because the UI, everything will be a bit different here. So we need to create a business rule now. So this is the part of the process where we are going to use the business logic. So please pay attention to this one. So clicking on this drop down, and you can just rename this here, calculate ship date, and here we can just add the description, calculate the ship date plus 14 days. Okay, so I can just minimize this, and now we have this canvas on the center, and on the top we have this add option. On the right side we have these components and properties. So when I click on this condition here, it is open up in the properties pane, and we need to rename it here, check approved date. So we want to approve, check the approved date, and if it is approved, then we need to take that date and then add 14 days to that. That's actually the business rule. And here the table name is machine order. That's fine. And here it has taken entity source approval. And here we need to mention whether the rules has to be defined here or not. We'll see how we need to add this or not. So here it has to be approved date, which you can see it here, and this has to be contains data. So it should not be blank, it has to have some data here. So that is enough for this one, and click on apply. And in the bottom you see it has added here, if approved date contains data, then what is the business rule for us. So the next thing here, we need to click on add, and then add a set field value. So we need to click here on this plus sign. So it's going to add a set field value onto the right side of this condition. Here we need to define the name of that field, which also we need to define the field value. So here it has to be the field value to be estimate ship date, and the value field or formula. So we can define a formula here, and it has to be approved date plus we need to define a value which is basically 14 days. So like we discussed initially, so we need to apply a formula where it has to be approved date plus 14 days is equal to estimate ship date. So just rename it here. Estimated ship date, and click on apply. And in the bottom you see the formula here, set estimate ship date equal to approved date plus 14 days. So that is what it has defined the formula. So now we need to validate this thing first of all, whether it is successful or not. Yeah, the validation is successful here, and now we need to click on save. This is now into the processing. This will save this information, and we can go back to our. But before to that, we need to activate this one. Then only we can able to use this business rule into our table. So we need to click on activate. This will also take some time. So process activate confirmation. Do you want to activate this selected one process? Yeah, activate this one. So once this is activate, then you cannot able to modify anything on the business rule. To do that, you need to deactivate first, and then you need to modify the changes and then activate again. That's how the process here. Now close the window, and you can see it here whether it is asking if it is completed over there. Yeah, it is done. Then it will apply that business rule onto your table. All right, this is a job done on the Dataverse side. Now we are moving into the third section, which is we need to add this Dataverse table inside our Canvas application. So right now I'm into the solution itself. So we need to click on apps here. So the best way is you just need to make sure that you are on the right environment, and also you are on the right solution, because just the mistake which we did here on this demo. So that's also a kind of use case for us to understand what are the difficulties and what are the points which we need to consider. So here, this is the machine ordering app. Select this one, and on the top, you can see it has to show the edit options. Yeah, click on edit here. And now we need to add the table. Adding a table in PowerApps is not a big deal. We can just need to use the connector, and we need to select the table here. Okay, the app is now running. So let's run this app to test it out. So select some of the features which we did in our previous section. Select this from two different things, and then go to compare screen. Now we are into compare screen and we can also see these things is working perfect. So let's close this one in the compare screen itself because we need to add that Dataverse here. First of all, we need to add the data. So we need to go here under the data section and add data. Here you will see by default in the current environment, it is showing up the list of tables available here. So there are one table is also here, which is machine orders. So clicking on that, as simple as that, the table is being added inside to our application. So the table is added here. Now the next thing here, we are into this form and we need to just realign this a bit, which is this one. And we need to set this here. Nothing, everything is good. So here in the insert, we need to add form. So if I type form here, we have two forms, which is edit form and display form. Now we need to give the users the ability to enter few information. So that's why we need edit form here. So click here, this will ask you for the data source. And from the right side, you can select here machine orders. So by default, this will bring up some columns and you can also customize those columns here. Just realign this so that it can fit onto this screen area. Okay, this is machine orders and it is asking whether the column name, I think one is fine. Yeah, this is good. And we can also reduce it further so that we can accommodate one more gallery here. All right. So we have machine order created on approval status and estimate price and status. So we can just click on the fields on the right side, not on this one, on this one. And we can customize based on our need. So what are the columns which we need actually? We need machine name, which is not here. So we can click here and then remove. And on the top, we have option to add field. You can just select here machine name. And after that, we need to use the price approver. We already have a price, so we need to use the approver now. And next thing we need to use is comment. We need a comment here and requested by and also requested date. Apart from this, we don't need any other table, any other field here. I think there are other fields also available here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, add here. We don't need other informations, which is created on approval date. So everything we can remove here. Approval status and estimate business date also we don't need here. Price we need, status we need, and machine name we need. So we need to realign this up and down. So for this, we just need to click here and then we have option to move up and also to move up. So machine name is the first thing. And the next thing is the price. And the third one is approver. Okay, fourth one is comment requested by request. So we don't need also the status. Select here and remove. This is cool now. So you can see we have machine name, price, approver, comment, requested by, and requested date. Everything is fit together here. And the next thing we need to rename here FRM machine orders. So when you click on preview and then if you select this form, this is actually the form machine order, and you can see it has added every control what we have seen here as a group here. If I expand machine name, instead of that we have a 4 controls here, and everything we have a 4 control. One is the star which is showing up here, another is error message if something goes wrong by user mistake, and also data value card which is this one, and data label. This is how it is. And when I click on machine name, this is going to select this property here, and this is tied up with the Dataverse. So you can, if you click on advanced, then most of the options are disabled here. So to unlock the change property, we need to click here, then only we can able to unlock that. But before do that, whenever we load this form is going to be blank here. If I run this application now Now you see it is not showing anything here. So in order to do that, what we need to do here on the visible property of this compare screen here, and here we have a on visible. So here we need to create a new form, is a function and open bracket and the form name. So whenever the form gets visible, then it's going to load this information to add a new record. Now, if I run this application, again, it will not show because the reason is we are on this page itself. So let's go back to the main screen and click on compare, go to compare section. Now we are able to see this information here. So that's the reason for that. Okay, so now the next target is whenever user click on any of these things, then it has to populate those information onto these fields. So for example, this is the machine name. So if I click on this one, then it has to load the machine name, which is airport here. So you can see it here. So to do that, we need to click on the property of this one and then go to advanced tab and click on unlock to change the properties. So click on the one and this will change the property. Now here we need to go to this one, which is the default value. So in the default value, by default, it is this item.machine name. So let's comment this. And instead of that, we need to use this one, which is, I think the name here, gallery machine one. Okay. So it is good actually to rename this instead of gallery machine one. We can just make changes here, gallery compare list. Okay. So again, going back here to the machine name and default property, it has to be gallery compare list dot selected dot machine name. So if I click here, then you see it is now showing up here as an airport. If I run this application, so you see it is showing up airport, and if I click here, now it is changing to cafe 100 automatic. That's cool. Similarly, we need to do this for all the other things as well. And let me do it one by one in a quick manner. So I just change here to be machine type and machine name. That's what I have added here, because we need to see both of them, commercial espresso and then a coffee machine name. If I click here, then it is commercial coffee maker and it is airport. Okay, so let's go to the price section. And this also we need to go to advanced tab and unlock this one. And under the default property, this has to be gal compare list dot selected dot price. Okay, the format it is not happening here, right? So let's go to the properties of this card, and here the display mode it is showing up to be parent.display mode. Instead of that, we just need to use here display mode.view, because we don't want the user to edit this information. It just they have to show the information. So here for approver, basically we need to take this from the Office 365 thing. So for this, we need to go to data here and then add connection and look for Office. Then you can see Office 365 user as a connector. So select this connector and yeah, select with your email ID. Then this will open up the information about who is the approver and other thing we can use from here. So this has to be, again, go to advanced tab and unlock this one, and under the default item, this has to be user, which is coming from Office 365 user, and this has to be by email. So it is not showing up my name, which is login of this one, and that's it. We need to apply the next 4 comments and requested by. All right, the next thing here in the comments, so we just need to give the user to so that they can input here. But the thing we can add here as we need to use the hint text. So what is the hint text which user can add here on this particular thing, which is here hint text. Yeah, so enter your comments, because this is all available only on the Dataverse table. It is not available on this information. So that's why we are taking it from a different thing. So only the machine name and the price is available on this compare list. The approver, comments, and requested by is actually not available there. So that's the reason here. The requested by is nothing but the login user. So the same thing, we need to click advanced tab, and on the default property, we need to set this as user.email. But the thing, we don't allow user to update this one. So in the display property, this has to be display mode dot view. All right, so requested date is fine. So we need to add the date and time here. So the requested date, actually we need to set here the default value of this one, the display mode, position, advanced tab, and here unlock this one, and also the default. This has to be today. Okay, it will show you the default date here, but we don't want the user to look into this information because that's a today's date. So on the properties here, we need to visible this here to be this one, but also we need to set this one, this to be view, display mode to be view. All right. So now everything is fine. The next thing here we need to add is to submit this application. So let's go back to this preview, and on the main screen, copy this button, come back here to the compare screen and paste here. So this is the one we need to give it a name, button submit, and this has to be submit. All right. And on the on select property, we need to define a different thing, which is, so here it has to be submit form, and we need to give the name of the form, which is FRM machine order. That's it. So this is actually for submit the form, but what if there is nothing is selected at the beginning of this one and you have to disable this button? So click here, and on the display mode, you need to define something. So here it has to be, this is we have copied it from the previous section. So here in the if condition, this has to be gallery compare list dot selected. If gallery compare is selected is equal to true, or if it is not blank, if is not blank, then only it has to do this job, or else it has to be disabled here. So save this one and run this one now. So let's go back here, and if I click on go to compare screen, so right now this is showing up here because we have did the selection. So go back here and let's clear everything. We don't have option to show the clear button. So what you can do here, let's edit this main form, and we can just see here the text property of this one. This has to be compare screen, and then we can just make use of this one into this go to compare screen. Text property, go to compare screen, and then we need to add this here. Yeah, I think this is enough. So now we have an option here, go to compare screen 2, which means it is showing up here. We need to come, we have a count of 2. So here on this button, this actually has to be clear all. Okay, this is the text of this one, but on select property for this has to be on select. We want this to clear the collection. So this has to be clear, and then the collection name, collection machine compare. So this is the one, and if I save and run this one. So right now you see go to compare screen 2, and if I click on clear all, both of them got disabled and everything is now clear. So select again as a fresh thing and go to compare screen. Now it is showing up here as a machine cafe, which is actually this one, which is pre-selected one. So that's why it is showing up here. That's cool. So let's add enter some information here. Machine is required and the price is showing up here, and click on submit. The error comes up here, network error using patch function, field contours of machine order is required. Yeah. So let's go back here on this form. So we need to add one column here, which is basically add fields, and then if I look for machine order, which is the name of the table, and we see this is a machine order with ABC. So we need to add this and this information, and then we need to hide this visible so it can be set up here. But all these things, all of this setup has to be done similar to what we have given for machine name here. So it's a similar thing. On the default property, we need to set up this value and all good. So we need to go here and run this application. So now we need to set up few information. I am selecting this one, and now let's have a look and compare with others as well. So let's add a small value, compare this, and this is the one. So now we have this price information, and we need light. Okay, and then click on submit. Then this is going to add a new record into our Dataverse environment. And now you see we have not get up any success information message because we have not set up that. It's just saying that no item to display. So let's have a look into Dataverse. So go to solution, because we are forgetting things, everything. So we need to go to solution and then open up our solution. And from here, click on the tables where we'll see machine orders and just open up that table. Just want to make sure. So I also added some information. Now you see it is showing up here as machine orders, created date, and these are the information which we added today. And if I sort this by this column, newest to older, and today is 26th of December, so it is showing up two information which I added today. That's great. And click on close. So once you click on submit button, it has to navigate to a different screen. For that, first of all, we need to go to tree view and add a new screen as a blank screen. This has to be success screen. I will just add a new text box here, which is record saved. Just information, and also we need to copy the headings here. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. And in the compare screen in the submit, so here we have a on success, not on the submit button. Actually, it has to be on the form. In the form, we have on success. We need to go here to navigate to success screen, and this has to be any information. That's it. And let's do it again with a different item. So this time I'd like to go with clear all and select these things. Select on this one. We need Crema Cafe Excel. Submit. Now it is moved to a different screen and also message here record save. That's pretty cool. So if you want to show what is the last saved information on this success screen, just realign this success message. And in the insert option, if you type form, we have a display form. Select here, and then we need to connect to data. So here the data is again, it's the same thing, which is machine orders. And here we need to select the fields what you want to display. Temporarily, I'll just keep this simple. Whatever it is showing up here, I will just keep that and just realign this here. So now you can see the data source of this form is set to machine orders, and we need to go here under items, and here in the item you need to call the form, which is form machine orders dot last submit. So if you do so, then it will pull up those information from that form and it will display here for you. So let's go back to our home screen. We need to add a button here so that we need to go back. So just copy and paste this button onto this screen as well. Let's realign. Yeah, all good. And save this one, run this flow. Submit. And now you see we are able to see the information what we submitted here. That's pretty cool. So this is all about the Dataverse environment. And in the next one, we're going to see how we can integrate with Power Automate. Hello and welcome back. So now we are going to discuss about model-driven apps. So how we can create an application inside to that. Before to that, what is model-driven apps? So this is basically an app which you can create as a backend. It has to be Dataverse, and it is mainly used if you want to build a kind of process flows for your application. Like if you're placing in purchase order and you want to wait for an approval, and then it has to go through that other department for another approval and audit approval, and then finally it has to place an order. So if you want to go a kind of business process flow, then you can make use of these model driven apps. And if you're also using Dynamic 365, you can also customize this model driven app based on your data, which is available on Dataverse. So I'm into my solution now. Here you can see it here, objects, and I'm into back to solution, right? So which is a solution which you are using since the beginning of this video. And here under the app section, I need to click on new, and under apps, we have a Canvas app and model driven app. Previously, we used Canvas app, and now we are going to use model driven apps. So when I click on this one, this will open up a new window where I need to define the name. So what I can define name here as machine orders. YouTube 2024_1. All right. So if you want to add also here machine orders, click on create. If you want to use custom solutions, use components from custom solution, then you can take this option. Right now we are not using that, so I'm just directly clicking on the create option. So this is basically based on our data behind the scene, right? So we need to add data source. But before that, usually we used to create navigations, how we can navigate into that. So we need to create menus here. On the left hand side, you can see we have an option about pages, new, navigation, and other pages. So you need to click on new here. Then this is asking about Dataverse table or dashboard, URL, web resource, or custom page, how we want to add here. So you can add this one, but still I'll just click on cancel here. And if you click here, add table, which is showing up here. Yeah, that's it. So if I click on that, this is how the app will look like as an example, which is showing up here. And also the app name, description, the icon of this app, it is showing up here. Okay, what is the home screen? So let's click on setting here. We can just review what are the settings which it has. So can it be offline? We can use that, and the features, which is some of the other features, if you want to enable that, so it is coming up here. Okay, this is the main basic settings, and you need to click on add page here and click on Dataverse table, which you are going to connect, and click next. So search for your table. So basically we have it here as machine order. And then if I scroll down, yeah, here is the one, machine order table. So select this one and then click on add. It has added this here as a new group, and inside to that we have machine orders. So if you want to rename this new group, just click here, and then we don't have option here. Maybe we just need to click on double click here. Yeah, and the right side you have the option here to rename. We'll just keep here as orders. All right, so this is the orders, and inside to that we have machine orders form here. And in the canvas, you can see on the center screen what we have it here as this will be the home and recent pin, and under orders menu, we have machine orders. So this is how the form will look like. We have not done any kind of UI work here. Everything is built from the base menu, which is available, base forms, base views available inside the Dataverse. We have not created any base form or base view, but the table structure what we have, it has taken up everything over here. So that's a quick about this Power Apps where we can add where we can add our tables in data model driven apps, and then we can build our application. This is done. The next step is we need to add few columns inside to our table. So we need to go back from here. First of all, we need to save this one, and then let's play. We'll see how it look like. We need to publish and continue. Okay, we'll see this afterwards. So let's go back here, and under tables we have our machine orders. So we need to select this machine orders, and then we need to add up the columns inside to this. So what are the columns we need to add is basically we have to add this capital approved, machine received, machine configured, send survey, and machine delivered. And also one more thing, which is supplier order ID. These are all yes or no columns. So this is a kind of process flow we want to define one by one. So clicking on new from the top menu and then column, just give it a name as capital approved. This is the display name, and this has to be yes or no column. So we need to select here. Yes, type it here, yes or no, and it has a simple behavior. Everything is fine. And in the advanced option, we don't need to select anything. So click on save. And also we'll add quickly the other columns as well. So the yes or no column actually available under the choice one. So choice yes or no. And finally, we need to add supplier order ID, which is a single line of text. All right, so we have added all the necessary required columns, and now we'll move to the next topic. So now the next step is we need to create a business process flow so that we can go through the columns which we have created in the sequence manner. So to do that, I'm into my solution here, and we need to go to cloud flows. And if you click on new, then you will see the automation here. And inside to the automation, you see the process, and inside to the process, you'll see this business process flow. So here it is new automation and then process and then business process flow. So when you click on that, then it is opening it on the right side. Let's give it a name. I have written down the step what we need to do. So we need to just copy this one, the name of the business process flow, and this will take the name automatically. And also you can see that it is showing up as Contoso, which is creating inside to this one. And the table we need to select here, which is machine orders. All right, and then click on create. So this will create this and open up in new window. And from here, we need to design our business process flow. This is also entirely a new screen, but it is easy to understand the sequence of this one. So the first step here is the machine order, and this is the name of this one. And you can click on details to have a look into the one by one steps here. So under machine orders, we need to click on this data stage one. If you want to rename this, you just click here and you can see this component and properties. This is similar to the screen what we have seen earlier. So you can just go through this one. So first of all, this is showing up here as a new stage. So basically it has to be machine requested. I'll just rename this here to be machine requested here. So if you want to add any kind of the category here, you can, but if you don't, then you can just skip this one. And below to this, we have a data steps. So in this data step, we need to give it a name and we need to select the field here. So which is basically the machine requested. First of all, we need to give it a name here and click on apply. And in the detail section also, we need to select here machine requested, and data field also we need to select this one, which is machine requested. We have it here, the request date. We need to select this one, and it is required or sequence. We can have it here and click on apply. So data step which is showing up here. Now in the top menu, click on add another data step. So where we want to add, we want to add it before to this or below to this one. So I need to add the below to this one. So clicking on here, plus sign. So we have a new step here, and for this we need to add the request date. So we have added that one, And the next here we need to add as approval status. So this is the approval status, and we need to select the column here. Oh, here you go, approval status. Yeah, this is sequence number 2 and click on apply. We also need to add another data step, which is the price of this one, and copy here, and price is the column name. We need to select also the price column name here. So click on apply. So we have done the first step. So the business process flow is like we are requested the machine and we are checking the price and approval status of that particular stage. And now we need to add another stage. For this, we need to add components. So here on the right side, you have see this one flow, stage and condition, and also the composition inside to that. So we need to add next stage here. So you can just drag and drop it to the right side of this stage, which is after the machine requested one. So the next stage, what we have it here as place order. So the user has requested the machine and now it's the time for us to place an order. So just change this here to place an order. That's the name of the stage. And if you also expand here, every stage will have a data steps here. So clicking on this step, so this has to be estimated ship date and supplier ID. We need to add that. So this is the estimated ship date, and you can also see it here and click on apply. For everything, you need to click on apply, then only it is going to apply the information. So now again, click on the plus sign and then click on add data steps. You can also do it from here in the components and then just drag and drop to this area. Both of them are fine. Even the stage also available here. You can see it on this one. Okay, selecting on this one, we need to now select supplier order ID as the entry point, and here we need to select the supplier order ID. Click on apply. This is fine. The next option is machine received. So we have placed the order and now the machine received the component we need to add. So selecting the component from the top menu and then add a stage to this one. The new stage is added here and just rename this to be machine received and clicking on so first of all apply and expand this one and select the first data step. Here we need to use the machine configured or not. So this is a step here and machine configured the column and click on apply. So now again, we need to add the next stage, which is after this one. So next step is distribute machine. If it is distributed or not, click on apply, expand this one, add the data steps here, machine delivered to them, and also send survey. Two things we need to add here. This is the first one, machine delivered and machine delivered here. And the next thing we need to add another data steps here, which is send survey. Send survey, and also we have a send survey here. Click on apply. Cool. So we have added all this stuff here. So we machine requested, place an order, machine received, and distribute at the machines. So these are the stages. Now there is one thing which is missing here. If you are following through since the beginning of this video, then we have a checkpoint about if this order is more than 10,000, then we need to get an approval for that. We also highlighted the colors on the PowerApps Canvas app, like it has to highlight into different color if it is more than 10,000. So for this, we need to add a condition, right? So to do that, in the component section, we have a condition option. So this condition actually has to be added inside to our business process flow. So now, for now, just save this one. And after that, we need to add the condition. The condition has to be added in between machine requested and place an order, because there only we need to get an approval. So just drag and drop the conditions between to this machine requested and place order. Then you will see a new stage is added here. Here we need to do price check. The display name of this stage, and we need to select here the price column, and the operator is greater than, and the value, yeah, which is the value we need to type here as a 10,000. If you see the condition here, price is greater than 10,000, then only this is going to apply the place an order. So now click on apply, then you need to click on save again. You see the new stage is added in between to this one, the price condition and the place an order. So this is what this will come only after saving this step. A new stage is added here, which is showing up here. So now it's the same process we need to do. select this one and give it a different name and also change in the data stage here. So we'll give this here as a capital approval and click on apply. Under the data step here, select this one and also we'll give the same name. And here we need to check about the capital approved column. This also we created one column and click on apply. So if this is capital approved, then this is going to place an order for this. So now you need to click on save. Next thing you need to validate and then activate. So just saving alone, it will not work. We need to save this one and then validate this one. Validation successful. And then we need to click on activate. Then only this will going to apply on your application. Activate now. This is now activated the form business process flow, and we can just close this window and click on done. So this is done. Now let's have a look into the app, how it looks like. I'm just into app here and then opening up this model driven app. You can see it on the type. Click here, then this will open up it on this window. And if you click on play, it is asking to publish and continue. But even though this will look similar here, and so we don't see any other information here. So now in order to bring the things which we have recently modified, we need to modify the forms. Like I said earlier, by default, when you create a table, this will also create a form and a view behind the scene as a kind of default what it is available. If you want to customize that, we can also do that. So we need to go to tables here and open up this machine order table and click on forms. You see it has added a card, quick view and main form. So clicking on this information, and here you have option about to edit. So this will open up a editor window so that you can drag and drop the column which you want to add inside to this form. It has already opened up a predefined column, but still if you want to add something, then you can also do that. So it is now added here approver by default. And if you want to add approval status, you can also do that. If you don't, then you can also click here. And if you want to remove the component, you can also do from here. So delete here requested by, and the approver is this one. And if you want to add approval status, just drag and drop wherever you want here. Then it's going to add that information here. I think we also need the approver here. I mean the requested by. You can just drag and drop here. All right, the approver is this one and approval status is this one. Approver date. And then you need to click on whatever the modification you want to do, you can just modify it here and then click on save and publish. Hopefully we'll cover more in depth about how the customization everything is possible in model driven apps in the forms. Then we'll cover in some other videos. Similarly, we also need to modify the views. So let's go back here and under the tables option again, if you select the machine orders, then we also have a view here. So selecting on this view and here active machine orders and machine orders in advance, there are many machine orders showing up here. So we can just select here active machine orders. Yeah, and then again click on edit from the top menu. This will also open up a editor here. And this is actually the new editor experience which is showing up here. Now we have a machine name created on price, request by request date, approver, and also approved date, component, and estimate ship date. So if you want to add some other column, we have a price here. If you want to realign that, we can also do that. I think we don't need a credit date here, so we can remove from here. So machine name, price, requested by request date, approval date, and then comments, estimate ship date. Yeah, I think we are good here and click on save and publish. Okay, now let's go back to the app and we'll try it out how it will work. I'm into the solution and under apps, this is the model driven apps. Select here and then click on play. This is not showing up here option, so select it. Okay, let's open up this app and on the top you see the play option. First of all, let's publish this app. And then only it will open up the play options and play. So this will open up into a new window. It is showing up here as dynamic 365. Amazing. So this is the UI which is showing up here, and under the orders group, you have a machine orders. So I made some dummy entries into my Canvas application, like we did here, open up the app and then add compare screen and then send an order. So this is going to insert a new record here on this one, which is the same process because we are looking into the machine orders table itself. So the approver, for example, I'm the approver now, and it will be shown like this on my screen once I logged in. This is a kind of backend process, and the request option is the Canvas application, which is for the users, and this can be for approver, the model-driven apps. So if I click on the first one, then this will open up for me here, and you can see this is machine requested about this information, and this is what it is. And here, if you click on machine requested rate and then click on next, then this will be look for this option and look for the rate as well. Here they need to click on other stages where it's going to come up here, estimated delivery date and order ID. We can enter here and click on next stage here. This is how it will go up for this one and click on finish. So this will done. And if I open up any order which is more than 10,000, like for example, this one, and you can see we have another option here as a capital approval. This is a kind of business process flow which is showing up here. It has to be same thing. Once it is requested is done, then it will check for approval, and we need to select here approved or not and click on next stage, and then we need to follow the other process which is requested. So this is how it can be done. Building up a model-driven app as a business process flow. Also, we can integrate into this one using our backend as a Dataverse. So the next step is we need to create an automation here. Like right now, what we are seeing is the user is going to request a coffee machine, and then it will be go through a business process flow for an approval. And the backend team, the approver has to approve this request, then only it can proceed further. But how they will get to know about that user has requested or not? So for this, we need to send kind of information notification using Power Automate. So we can define that Power Automate process here. And once it is requested, it will be get a notification to the user, I mean the approver. And once it is approved or rejected, it will also send information to the other users, I mean the requested user. So that's how the process will work. I will show you in the existing one, which I have it here. For this also, we need to go to our environment and go to the solution in PowerApps, and then under the cloud flow, we need to click here new, and then we have automation under cloud flow. We need to create here automated instant or schedule flow. Here it has to be, we need to create here as an instant cloud flow. So if I go back to my Power Automate, which is make.powerautomate.com, and I'm into this my solution here, I mean the environment, and click on my flows, then this will give me the list of available flows which I have, which is here as a new machine approval request as a kind of instant approval. So if I click on this flow, it is going to actually open up this Power Automate flow with the beginning. So this is an automated cloud flow which we added here, not an instant one. We had to select automated cloud flow. Now we need to give it a name here. Let's, for example, test 2. And here it has to be Dataverse. When a row is added, modified, or deleted, so this is what we need to select an action, the trigger actually. So select this one and then click on create. So once you do so, then it will open up this Power Automate window like this. We need to configure the other options from here. This is the new UI of Power Automate. So when a new row is added, modified, or deleted, and then we need to do other steps here. I will go through this one by one now. The first step we need to add here is click on the plus sign and then add an action. It has to be approval. So if you didn't find this, you can just type here approval. And inside to that, if you click on see more, create an approval, start and wait for an approval, start and wait for approval of text, and wait for an approval. Basically, we need to select this one, start and wait for an approval. So once the request is created, then this will trigger this flow and it will wait for an approval actually. So you need to click on this one. And after this, we have an option here. What are the settings we need to do here? So first of all, we have this approval type. How you want this approval, whether we need to have a multiple people to approve or any one of them. Because if you have a multiple approvers, then how it has to work. So the first response itself is fine. Anyone can approve. So approve or reject first to response. And we can customize the message and everything here. New machine requested for. If you click on this one and click on this icon, then you will see this multiple options here. Here we need to select the thing which we want to add here. So machine name, machine order or price. Here we added here as a machine name. You can also see it here. If I mouse over the machine name here, contoso underscore machine name. So machine name is added here, assigned to. So here also, if you click here, then you will get this option, which is coming up here. We also have 60 more information, the columns available on the table. If you click here, then we'll also see the other things here. Assigned to is basically the email for the person to whom you are going to assign the approver. So if you click here, you should see the contoso underscore approver. That's the approver column. And this is customized message we can add here. A new machine has been requested. The machine name and the price of the machine is this one, and department contribution about this one, the column which is also added on the table, and comments if there is user added any comments here, and the link of this item. Here we have added the link of the item for this. If you want to add any other information, you can also do that. And to show the requester who has done that, you can also add the same thing in the column here. And you want to enable notification, and also for the reassignment, everything has to be selected here. All good for this one. And once this is done, then we need to create a variable, which is basically added here as a kind of plus sign, and then click on add an action and then look for variable here. So here we see multiple variables options. We need to click first of all initialize a variable. So clicking on this one, initialize a variable, and we need to give it a name here as an outcome result and string, and outcome is basically outcome from this approval status. If it is rejected or approved, we need to capture that information. So we are capturing that text information into a variable now. So now based on the variable, we need to send an email to other people. If it is approved, then we have to send it to the user as an approved, or if it is rejected, then also we need to send an email for them. So for this, we need to click here and then add an action again. And then if you see also here control, then you can see more, you have one option about to condition. So clicking on this condition, then this is going to add an action, which is not required here. And by default, this is how it will look like. Condition true or false. So clicking on this delete for now, because we already have this condition. So what is the condition here? So here the condition is basically the outcome of this approval, wait for an approval, this flow. And if it is equal to approve, that is the outcome. It will come as approve or reject. That's a standard naming convention which is coming from as an output. If it is approved, then it is true. If it is not, then it will be false. So what we need to do, if it is true, then we need to update a record onto the Dataverse table, and then we need to send an email to the user. For this, we can just need to click on the plus sign inside to the true and add an action, and we need to select here as a Dataverse. And the Dataverse, you can see on multiple options. Here you need to look for update a row, which is showing up here. And once you click on update a row, then you need to fill the other information. You need to select your table name, and the row ID is basically you can pick it from this one when an item row is created. If I mouse over here, then actually this is coming from trigger output, right? Which is triggering from the Dataverse initially. So we need to select the machine order ID, and then you have multiple columns. So which column you want to update? Basically, I want to check this one, which is approval status to be approved, and which is approved date is current now, which is UTC now is basically the function. We can use it here, which is showing up here UTC now. That's it. Similarly, we need to do the same thing for the false as well, but here I have not done that. That's no issues. You can just right click here and then you can copy action. And also if I click on the plus sign on the false section, we have option to paste an action. So just paste this one. And then under the option here as an approve, we need to select here as a reject one. That's it. And finally, we need to send an email to the user. Just expand this. We can add, if you have Office 365, then you can use your Office 365 email ID. Just click on the plus sign, add an action, and you can use Outlook. And then you can use your create an email. Actually, it has to be send an email option. For now, I just use here Gmail option here. So clicking on this one, everything will be similar. You can customize based on your need. So 2 is basically the requester, which you need to pick it from the trigger body message, not from the updated row. Okay, so this has been approved or rejected. We are going to send an email to the user, and here also it has been rejected. So that's the title, subject, and the body of the message. We can customize based on our need. So once you click on save, and then if you add any message here, then it is going to trigger a message for you. And if I open up my Gmail, I will show you how it will look like. All right, you see, I'm into my Gmail account and I got an email from Power Automate, a new machine request at home office. This is the one, and this is basically the request one, and this is the price of this one, and this is the contribution to them. And also if you want to approve or reject. So you have an option here, approve or reject. If you are into your login, if you can click on approve, then it will approve based on your login here. And this trigger actually, the one which we have added on to Power Automate, this will wait for an approval, right? This is the one. So once you click on that, it will automatically update to this flow and it will capture information whether you have approved or rejected this one. Then it will continue the flow to work on that, update a record and then send an email to the end user. So user can also open up into Power Apps as well. User can also access this thing in their Power Automate app. If you're using iOS or Android mobile, they can also access through this one. They will open a Power App. They will open the app and then they can see this, what are the approval pending, so that they can also approve from the app itself. So you can also add additional things here, like whatever the result is there, you want to publish into a Teams message, Teams channel. Then you can also add an action here, add an action, and then go for a Teams here. And if you see more, then you have an option about create post message to a Teams channel, right? You can also use this option so that you can also send an information to the Teams user. If they are not looking the email, they can also have a look into their Teams notification that it is approved or rejected for them. So there are customizations are endless. We can customize based on our need. All right, this is the most part covered for entire Power Apps thing, where we can create Power Apps Canvas application, and then you can build Dataverse tables and also build some model-driven apps, and also use Power Automate to build your business process flows. I thought you get a lot of information from this video to kickstart your career in Power Apps. If you like this video, just hit the big thumbs up button. If you're new to this channel or if you haven't subscribed yet, just click on the subscribe button and also press the bell icon to get the latest notifications. If you have any queries and feedback, please let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Keep learning. See you in the next video.